Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Dan from DHTV, and today is the beginner's guide to the Apple Watch Series 8, where I'm going to be showing you how to use the Apple Watch Series 8 to get the most out of it. Let's get started. Alright, so what we have here is the iPhone, and we also have our Apple Watch Series 8. And before we even begin, what you want to do is open up the Watch app on your iPhone, because a lot of what we're going to go through can be configured straight from the iPhone itself. Now, we're going to be going through a lot of stuff in this video, so I strongly recommend you watch the entire thing. But if you do want to skip ahead, there's chapters in the description, so you can skip ahead to exactly what you want to learn. For the rest of us, we're going to start by going over some of the basics, some buttons, and navigation of your Apple Watch. So first off, you have two buttons on your Apple Watch. On the right side, you have your digital crown and you have your side button. Now, whenever you press the digital crown, it's going to open up your app library, which you can see here, and you can drag your finger along the app library to see different apps, like so. And anytime you want to return to your watch face, you can press on that crown. Once again, it'll take you right back to your watch face. Now, pressing on the watch face here, as I said, opens up your app library. To access apps, you just simply tap on them and they'll open up. For example, if we tap on settings, we'll open up the settings app. Now, anytime you're on a page that involves scrolling, you can use your finger just to scroll like this, or you can even use the crown to scroll as well. And basically, to exit any application and be returned to your app library, you're going to press that crown button once again. Now, at any time, if you press the side button, it's going to bring up an app switcher. And this is sort of like a multitask, very similar to the iPhones, where you'll be able to see all the open apps that you have on the Apple Watch. Now, you can just scroll through and tap on the ones you want to access. That way you can save time just by switching quickly. So if you wanted to see your sleep tracking, you could tap there and it will take you straight to that application. Now, if we go back to the app switcher and scroll all the way to the bottom to our last app, you can see that we have a section that says all apps. We can tap on that. It'll also take us right back to our app library. Now, these two buttons also have other options. For example, if you press and hold on the side button, you'll see right here, it'll bring up our medical ID, our compass tracking, and an emergency call. So if you swipe that, it'll call emergency services. We'll just tap cancel for now. And if you press and hold on the digital crown, it'll activate Siri. And we're going to get into how to use Siri in just a little bit, but basically, Siri is your personal assistant, just like on the iPhone. Now, once you return to your watch face here, you have some swipes that'll access a few different features. First, if you pull down from the top, it'll bring up your notification center. Right now, I don't have any, so you can see it says no notifications. As you have more and more notifications popping up, they will appear in this list where you can tap on them to see what they're all about. Now, if we scroll up from the bottom, that's going to bring up the control center, which is a whole bunch of quick settings and features that we can access. We're also going to go over this in just a little bit. Now let's talk about how you can turn off your Apple Watch and how to turn it back on. So again, we're going to press and hold on that side button. At the top, you'll notice this little shutdown button. If you tap on that, it's going to bring up this power off option. You just slide to power off, and that'll turn off the Apple Watch Series 8. After a few seconds, you'll be able to turn it back on, or whenever you're ready to turn it back on, you can. And to do that, you're just going to press and hold on that side button once again until you see the Apple logo appear. Now, turning on the Apple Watch does take a little bit of time. It took about 30 seconds to a minute to turn mine on, and this one's brand new with very few apps installed on it. Now let's move back over to Siri and how to use Siri with the Apple Watch Series 8. Now, it works pretty much the same as it did in previous generations, where you press and hold on that digital crown and then you can ask Siri some questions or a task to perform. So for example, let's just say we wanted to set a timer. Set a timer for 3 minutes.
3 minutes, counting down.
And now the timer started on our Apple Watch. We can still exit out of that just by pressing on that crown. We can start using the watch as we would like. We can tell Siri to stop the timer. Stop timer.
It's canceled.
And you can ask Siri to give you directions, set reminders, the weather, scores for different sporting events, and anything you can think of you can try and use with Siri. Now there are some settings that you can access with Siri as well, and if we go to the settings application on the Apple Watch, that's this one right here, and we scroll down a little bit here, you'll see there is a Siri option. If we tap on that, you can have all of these different settings set up for Siri as well. So the first one, which is enabled, will listen for that key phrase there, and when you say that, you would just say set a timer or directions to wherever, and that's a great way as well. There's also a raise to speak. So as the Apple Watch is on your wrist, you're just going to raise it up towards your face, and if you start speaking, Siri will activate as well. The third option to activate Siri is to press the digital crown, and that's what we were looking at just a second ago. Now the rest of these options are a little bit more advanced. You can look through them if you would like, and you can set them up the way you want, but that's a basic introduction to Siri on the Apple Watch Series 8. Now, one of the biggest features with the Apple Watch, and that's the most fun, is the watch faces and the ability to customize them, change them, and have fun with them all together. Now, you can see on my iPhone, when I open the watch app, I have my watch face at the top there. I only have one on this new Apple Watch, but if I press and hold on the Apple Watch itself, you can see I can edit this watch face straight from here. So I'll tap on edit, and now I have the style, which I can edit, and you can see that there's a little dial there. So if I use the crown, I can actually scroll, and it's making some little changes. So it took away the 3 and the 9. If I scroll back up, you can see all the numbers are starting to come back. So that's the customization with this particular watch face. We can also flip to the right side, and now we're getting some additional options. We can flip over again, and you can see that you're going to be able to change the color here, right from the Apple Watch itself. If we flip back here, we can change the background color. So there's a whole bunch of things you can do straight from the Apple Watch, and you can continue swiping right as many times as you can. And here's where the complications come into play, and these are sort of the features that you can add to the corners in this particular case with this Apple Watch watch face. So if we tap up there, we've got the weather, and we can scroll through the options. So we have the weather network, we can add workouts, clocks, YouTube music if we want. Let's throw that up there, and you can do the same with each one of those corners. So that's the end of this customization on this particular watch app. So when you're done, just click on that digital crown and tap on it to activate it, and that's our new watch face completely customized the way we like it. Additionally, you can customize these watch faces from your Apple Watch app on the iPhone, and it's even better because you have more real estate to work with. So you have all of these examples down here of what you can do, and you can see them before you tap on them, what your complications are going to be, set it as your current watch face, even remove the watch face right from there as well. Now, adding additional watch faces is always good too. That way you can switch between your watch faces for the different events you might be going to or the different settings you're in. So for this, once again, we'll tap and hold on the watch face. This time we're going to swipe left, and it's going to bring up this new option. If we tap on that, it's going to go through a whole list here of different watch faces that we can look at and go through. And we can add them straight from the Apple Watch. But it's a little bit small here, so let's do this from the iPhone app. And for this, we have a dedicated area at the bottom called Face Gallery. And this opens up the whole list of watch faces that we can choose from. And we can just go through this list and look through whichever ones we want. And I kind of like these ones right here, kind of a more red look and has a lot of complications within it. So let's tap on that, and we can set up the colors. We can go through the different sections here in the time scale, and we can even add what complications are here. So if we don't want UV index, we can go down and have the temperature. When you're done, you just tap add. It's going to add it down there, and now if we go back to our front page, we have a second watch face. Again, just by tapping and holding, and then now you can just switch to the right or left to see all your watch faces, and then just simply tap to activate the one you want. Now, as you use your Apple Watch, updates will be released just like on the iPhone, and updating it is pretty simple. You're just going to tap on the General tab on the iPhone and then tap on Software Update. It's going to start checking for the updates, and for us, we are on the latest version, but if you do see an update appear, you can tap on it, download it, and then install that update so that you have the latest version of your Watch OS. At the same time, you have automatic updates up here, so you can turn these on. That way it will automatically install the software overnight, and that way you generally will always have the latest version of your OS on the Apple Watch. Now, the Apple Watch has a lot of features that are important and great for your health. So, for example, if we just go through some of these apps here, the first one here is a heart rate monitor. Now, I'm not going to put it on and make you watch me get a heart rate reading, but you can see I had 73 beats per minute an hour ago when I was wearing the watch, and that's all you're going to do is just wear the watch, let it track your heart for a few seconds there, and it'll come up with a heart rate. It's tracking 63 beats per minute for this table for whatever reason, but it'll do that exact same thing on your wrist with your heart rate as well. Additionally, you have this one right here, which is your blood oxygen level. Now, I had mine checked a day ago and it was at 100%. Usually, healthy people have a range between 95 and 100%, but you can read up on what blood oxygen is and why you would want to check it for your health, and then do that whenever you'd like as well. The instructions will pop up as you're holding it, but basically you're just going to keep your arm on a table as steady as possible, and then you can run that blood oxygen test on your Apple Watch. The next one is this right here, and this is the ECG. And basically you're going to have your watch on your wrist and you're going to hold your finger over the crown, and this will record your heartbeat and a rhythm using the electrical heart sensor, and then check whatever it finds for Afib or atrial fibrillation. And there's been people who have actually been notified of this on their watch, and they were able to get to a doctor and get the situation fixed before anything major happened. So there is a benefit to this, but keep in mind, I think Apple says this all over the place, that these are not to be dependent on to keep you healthy or to be used as a medical tracker. It's just to give you insight, but you should still do your real checkups and all that kind of stuff at the same time. Earlier in the video, I showed you when you pull down, it brings up your notification center. Now you can control how notifications are going to work, and we're going to tap on notifications on our iPhone, and you can see all the settings here. The first one is the notification indicator, which is just going to be a red dot. You'll see it at the top of the watch face that you have, and anytime you see that red dot, it means you have a notification. If you don't want that red dot, you can turn that off and you won't have any indicators. That way your watch face is completely the way you want it. The second one is the privacy of your notifications. And as it's set, the show summary when locked is enabled, and that means that the Apple Watch will show you a notification summary or a short look when the Apple Watch is locked. This will basically be the app icon and like a brief description or headline of whatever that notification is. If you don't want to have any of that summary, turn that off. And then you have this, which can turn the full notification on, and that way you'll see the full notification details and everything when you have a notification coming through. And you can tap on all of these different apps here. So for example, the heart rate here, and then set up what notifications and what things you would like to be notified about. And every app is going to have different options there. So you can set Mirror My iPhone Custom, for example, the phone application, again, Mirror and Custom. So basically when it says Mirror My iPhone, if you get a notification on your iPhone, it'll just mirror it over so you see the same notification on your Apple Watch. And then if you do swipe it away on your Apple Watch, it should be swiped away on the iPhone as well. Now, if you tap on Custom, this is what you have. You can turn the notifications off for those specific apps, the sound, the haptics, the notification grouping. Totally up to you how you want to configure how your notifications are going to come through on this Apple Watch. But that's where you're going to do it, in the notification section right there. Now, another great one is to configure the sounds and the haptics that pop through this Apple Watch. And what you would do is just tap sounds and haptics on the iPhone. You have those same settings on the Apple Watch. Like I said, it's just easier to see it here on the iPhone. And first off, you have the alert volume, which you can scroll back and forth to control that. You can set the silent mode, so if you need to silence your Apple Watch, you can do it right from there. You also have the headphone safety. So here you can actually turn on a reduce loud sounds, and what it'll do is your Apple Watch will analyze the headphone audio that you might have on, and it's going to reduce any sounds that's over a set decibel level, and this is good to help your ears. So if you want to turn that on, that's where you can do so. You have haptic alerts, and haptics are just the vibrations you'll feel on the wrist, and I would suggest leaving that on. The haptics are just a great way so you can feel what's going on rather than having sounds popping through. I traditionally leave my Apple Watch silent and use the haptics. You have default and prominent, and you can tap on those to feel the strength of both, and then set it to the one you want. The crown haptics are here as well, so when you roll this crown, you'll feel a slight vibration as it's rolling. You can turn that off if you'd like, and if you turn off haptics anywhere, you're going to save a little bit of battery, because that does take a little bit of battery to produce those vibrations. Cover to mute is a great thing as well. I use this a lot. Anytime your Apple Watch does ring or any kind of sound, you can just cover the watch face like so, and it'll instantly mute whatever's happening. So if you're in a movie theater and you've got to silence it, you just mute, or in a meeting, just mute it just like that. Great feature to have on. And you can customize all of these any way you'd like in the sounds and haptics settings on the iPhone. Now let's get back to the control center on the Apple Watch here. So we'll first pull up from the bottom, and this is the control center we looked at a little while ago. First, you have a little battery indicator at the top that's going to let you know the battery percentage of your Apple Watch. You also have a percentage right here, and if you tap on that, it's going to show you a more detailed battery percentage of how much battery is available on your Apple Watch, and a toggle to turn on a low power mode. That way you can conserve some battery when you are very low, and it might get you through the next few hours depending on when you turn it on. This one is your Wi-Fi signal, and if you tap on it, you can turn your Wi-Fi off, you can turn it back on, and if you tap and hold, it'll open up the Wi-Fi settings, allowing you to connect to a Wi-Fi connection if you are in range of one, and you'll be able to choose your network just like you do on any other device. Now, one of the features I use most on the Apple Watch is actually this ping feature here. And if you ever lose your phone like I do, finding it is a mess. Now, this is a great way to just find it with sound, and all you have to do is tap this option and your iPhone will ring. So for example, and now you can follow that sound throughout the house, and it'll help you find your phone. And what's great about this is that it'll ring your iPhone even if the iPhone is on silent. The next option is a silence button. So if you ever wondered how do I silence the Apple Watch, this is it right here. It's this little bell icon. You just give it a tap and your Apple Watch is silent. So that means you're not going to get any of your ringers or anything like that coming through. And like I showed you in the sounds and haptics section, you can configure all of those as well. Now we're going to scroll down a little bit here, and we're not going to go through every single one, but this one right here is a flush option. So if you ever take your iPhone and you've put it into water, or it's been submerged or has water in it, you can then turn that on. You'll see a little drip at the top of the Apple Watch face. All you have to do is press and hold on the crown. You'll hear a bunch of sounds and it'll flush out all the water. We have this mode right here, which is a do not disturb. So you can set it to work, sleep, whatever you have. These are tied in with your focus. That's why you see a YouTube one there. I was doing that with my video. If you want to learn about focus, there is a video on my channel about that. This is a flashlight. So if you're in the dark and you need a light, what it's going to do is give you a super bright screen here of white, and you can swipe to the right to get a flash and even a red. So those are the options you have there as well. You have airplane mode, so if you want to kill all cellular or network connections, you can tap on that, it'll turn on. Again, if you hold on many of these applications, you'll get even more settings that are to do with that specific setting. And then we have this one here, so if you have other devices like the Beats or the AirPods, you can connect the audio to them straight from here. This right here just changes the size of the text, so you can use the digital crown here to sort of make it larger or smaller, whatever you'd like for your preferred view of the Apple Watch. And then you have an edit option down here, which will allow you to either remove any of these that you don't want in your control center. I don't see why you would want to remove them. There's not many. And then you have an option there to add the school time if it applies to you right there. You can also tap and then drag them into other places. So if you want to organize them all around, and then you can just tap or press on the crown here to set the control center the way you want it. Moving on, let's take a look at this passcode option here. You can actually set a passcode for your Apple Watch. You can do this either on the Apple Watch itself or in the Watch app on the iPhone here. So if you open the settings on the Apple Watch and you just scroll down, you'll see a passcode option here. You can turn the passcode on just by tapping, and it's going to prompt you to enter in a new passcode. So we're just going to create one here. It's 4 digits. It's prompting me to put a better passcode, but I'm just doing this for an example. We can tap use code. It'll ask you to re-enter whatever passcode you pick. Obviously you want something stronger than what I just chose there, but now anytime your watch face locks like this and you go to open it up, and you'll be prompted to enter in your passcode, and then you'll have to press it again. I kind of don't like that. I don't really use passcodes on the Apple Watch, so I'm going to turn it off here, and to do so You just open that back up, tap turn off passcode, you'll enter the passcode just like so, and that is it. Now another new feature with the Apple Watch Series 8 was the crash detection, and we're just going to open up the emergency SOS settings on our iPhone here. We're actually going to open them up here on the Apple Watch as well, just so you can see them at the same time here. So SOS. Now basically you can set these to be on whichever way you want. These are the emergency SOS features. So first you have the hold the side button to dial SOS, and I showed you earlier when you hold that side button on the Apple Watch, it'll give you the emergency SOS option. If you want that to be on, you can leave that switch on or turn it off. Then you have one here, call after a severe crash. Now this is a new feature that if you ever get into a car accident, the Apple Watch is actually going to enter that SOS mode. You're going to get a countdown, you're going to hear a siren. If no action is taken on your part after those two warnings pop up, it's going to automatically call emergency services. So that's something that could potentially save your life if you're unable to move and activate or call for help. Below that is a fall detection, which works very similar. This is going to detect when you take a hard fall. And then what it's going to do is that same thing. It's going to prompt with an alert. It's going to do a countdown, and then it'll call emergency services if there isn't any action taken on those alerts. Now there is two options here. You can have it always on, and you'll get this prompt here. You can confirm that after you've read it. Now if you scroll down, there's a little bit more information you can read, and you can actually edit your contacts in health so that there's people that you can call and all that stuff. Health and the emergency SOS features on the Apple Watch here are very good, and I'd strongly recommend at least glancing over them to see if there's anything you'd want to set up. Now another customizable feature on the Apple Watch Series 8 is the ability to change how your apps look and how you can access them. So we're going to open the settings here, and we're going to scroll down to the app view. Right now we're on the grid view, which is that bubbled look. They're kind of scattered all around here. But in that setting, you can switch it to list view. And what that does is takes your somewhat crowded app view there and puts it all in a list like this. So you can scroll up and down to access all the apps. You can use the crown as well. It's going to take you longer to find them, but at the same time, it does make your Apple Watch look a little bit different than everybody else. And to change back, it's as simple as just opening those settings once again and then tapping on grid view. Next, let's talk about sleep tracking. The Apple Watch actually has a sleep tracker and a little icon right there where you can set up your sleep schedule. But what we're going to do is tap on the little bed sleep icon here on the Apple Watch app on the iPhone, and you can track sleep with your Apple Watch as long as this is enabled. You'll get charging reminders prior to going to bed after you set up a schedule. That way you have enough power in the Apple Watch to actually get through the night. And then you have manage sleep focus in settings, which I'm not going to get into. That's a little bit more advanced, but you can just tap on it and go through it. And this way, all you'll have to do is just basically wear your watch to sleep, and then you'll be able to track your sleep and how you've been sleeping. The next option is to change the orientation of the Apple Watch. So we'll open the General tab on the Watch app on the iPhone and tap on Watch Orientation. Now when I set up my Apple Watch, I had it on my left wrist with the digital crown on the right side. That's just how I had it. If you want to change that, you can change it to your right wrist with the digital crown on the right side, or even on your left wrist with the digital crown on the left side. So if you like the digital crown down there, you'll be accessing it more with a thumb than your finger. It's totally up to you, but that gives you even more customization on how the Apple Watch fits on your wrist. Anyway, that is it for the beginner's guide to the Apple Watch Series 8. I hope it was helpful for you. If it was, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this one. I have a full playlist on tips, tricks, and tutorials for the Apple Watch and the new iPhone 14s, so definitely check those out in the description. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll see you guys in the next one.